Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching GEEKCASTER. This is a part that let's do more than one part. Willie, you have time? You good on
I got
time?
some time.
Cool. So we're gonna do part
Yeah.
two because we left on at a really hot moment talking about the Mandalorian and talking about the Book of Boba Fett. I'm a huge fan. We got Willie Smith here. We got Dayveonne, Bussey. We got Corey Davis, Michael, and I agree with everything Willie you said on the last episode. Like every time they introduced a character, you got so interested. I mean, even Jennifer Beals' character in the cantina. Oh, what does she do? Is she evil? Is she like a boss? What's happening here? Seems like she's running things. Every step you move away from. Oh yeah, this is the Book of Boba Fett. Now, mind you, I do think it's important though to build. I see where they're going with it. I just feel like there's a lot of placeholders. It's almost like everything could be condensed in one episode, and maybe they're spreading it out. And you could see that in episode 5, 6, and maybe 7. I don't know, but definitely 5, 6, where okay, now they're gonna go into Yoda. Now they're gonna. It's almost like they didn't have enough material to focus on Boba, and they really just trying to like, okay, well now we gotta like stitch things together, which makes sense, I guess, in this whole Star Wars universe because they're still trying to figure things out. But I feel that they're not giving me a well-cooked meal. So that's my spiel. Let me throw it to you guys. I'm going to shut up.
I still don't feel that way. I feel like the Book of Boba Fett is like a Western meets a samurai drama. So you have all of these elements and a lot of these characters, and you're getting a lot of the backstory. And yes, it is the Book of Boba Fett, but how many times have we seen a Star Wars title concentrate on one character, but the whole storyline is about a bunch of characters? This just fits in the Star Wars lineage to me.
I feel like maybe they could have gotten away with it more if they just kept his name out the title of the show. I probably wouldn't be as judgmental about it. If it was just Star Wars bounty hunters, then I probably wouldn't be as judgmental. But if it was like a Spider-Man miniseries, and granted, like if they're like in season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, and then they want to do some episodes where they just featured on some of the other characters, I can see that. But I was like, this is like the first season, and like after like episode 4, it kind of trailed off from him. And if you were to say, hey, we're going to do a Book of Boba Fett season 2, I'd be like, oh, who else is going to show up? Because I haven't really been attached to Boba as much as I could have been.
I don't know. I feel like the good leaders always makes it about his palace instead of himself. I'm reaching. It sounds good. But
that was a reach.
So far, I like what they're doing with him on the mantle, and this is his cronies because he's basically setting everyone else up for success, as a good leader should.
Like, I would have liked to have seen more of him training those kids that he got. You know, like the kids that he saved from getting robbed. Like, give me an episode with him training them how to fight. You know, building a bond with them. And who knows? Maybe they'll do more of that if there's another season of Book of Fett or Book of Boba Fett. But again, like in like the first season to then trail off, and not that I'm complaining because I love the Mando episodes, but I felt bad loving them because it wasn't about the titular character, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and there was definitely moments in that I was like, you know, like the Mandalorian, like, okay, where are we going with it? Is it about you? Is it about the child? Is it everyone's calling it Baby Yoda? Is it about it? Okay, they ended strong. But again, they did the Luke thing, which was great as a fan standpoint, you know. And someone said this online, and I think that Favreau gets it. I feel that the other people leading the new direction of Star Wars gets it. Star Wars is about Luke Skywalker. At the end of the day, you have some great characters, but it's about Luke. It really is. And as much as originally, we thought that it was going to go this way with all the books, because a lot of people that are into the books is like, well, there's Luke and then his wife and the kids and this and that, and we didn't get that in what is it, 789? We didn't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone thought
exactly.
it really was going to do Luke's kids, and instead
Yeah.
they went with Leia and her son Ben, and you're like, why are we going here? So if all roads lead to building towards Luke, then I'm up for the ride, and I'm with you with that, Corey. It's just that just don't throw us content for content's sake. Do it right. I was a huge Boba Fett fan before people got. Like, I wanted to get a Boba Fett electric guitar. There was this one company that was making them. People were like, why you want Boba Fett? Because Boba Fett is cool. Like, Boba Fett was just one of the coolest dudes ever. I had that action figure, too. I don't even know where that is now. But Boba Fett was just awesome. And I just feel like I'm not getting that awesomeness. I'm getting the transition. But even if he's going to be a transition to be a mobster or a kingpin, or even some sort of a king, he should still be badass, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like him
Yeah.
working with there was one line I thought that was interesting. He said that, the Tuscans took me in as their family. No, they had you as a slave, and then you earned the right. You know what I mean? So even with the writing, like, someone really, I hate when they take liberties like that, because that's not exactly what happened. I saw the episode, So I think he's really soft. He's like almost too soft. And I think it's not till episode 4 or 5 it kind of made sense with him saying, like, people like us have been bounty hunters and working for stupid people all our lives. So that was a cool thing. That kind of brought back the strength.
Yeah.
Because there's strength in silence. There's strength in, like, well, I'm not going to fight today. But then show us a lot more of that earlier on in the season. So I'm not like, well, I mean, I wouldn't listen to you either. I mean, I would be like those other bad guys that want to take you over.
I mean, can we not forget that he was hurt for the first 5-6 episodes? He's
okay, and
so.
But Corey, okay, it doesn't matter whether you get hurt. It's what you do with that hurt to basically overcome.
Right, and he's building a dynasty. So that's what I'm saying. Like, from that transition, when we last saw him, and I forget which Star Wars movie it was, they brought you back up to, hey, this is where he is. This is how he survived. This is what he went through. He went through a lot. He was a slave. He battled to whatever rank he is now, and he's finding his way, and now he's finding his people, and he's building with that. And yes, he still has his moments. Like, every episode or every scene is about him. I totally get that. But it's the Book of Boba Fett, his story. I think I resonate with that more.
What do you guys think of Mandalorian and his role and with the Darksaber? What's your thoughts on that?
With the Darksaber, it's because isn't there a tradition when it comes to dealing with that type of lightsaber?
Yeah, and they go over that in the episode. I think it's episode 6. Yes, they go over that in episode 6, and I think it's building the prophecy, like Dayveonne saying. Yes, they are doing that story. They're going into the lore with that.
But what do you think about it? I mean, I understand what they're trying to do, but are you buying into it? Do you like it, or is it like?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, the Darksaber is like one of those sabers you really are intrigued about. Like, it's more intriguing than the white saber.
Okay, what do you think, Will? What's your take on Mandalorian and the Darksaber and how that's being handled? Or you're up for the ride for it, or you're like,
I'm up for the ride. I am curious about it, but I think, I liked how in the Book of Boba Fett, I love that he struggled with it. I love that he didn't just know how to use it right away. I thought that was dope. But this kind of also goes back to the whole with Boba Fett being hurt like in the first 5 episodes or so, I think pacing really matters, because if he's hurt for like the first 5 episodes and the series is like what, 7,
Yeah.
8 episodes,
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lack of balance in my part. Whereas like with Mando, we saw him struggle with the darksaber, but within an episode they showed him learning how to get better with it. And I think like if we had seen Boba by episode 2, maybe 3, already getting stronger, and starting to take charge, maybe that would have helped the pacing of the show a little bit more. So I like that we're seeing Mando having to learn how to use the darksaber. I am very curious about when Bo-Katan shows back up, though, because I feel like there's some unfinished business there, and I want to see where they go with that. So they definitely have my attention for it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Again, that you have the books, and then you have the video games, and then you have what we saw from the films. So it's this interesting mix they're trying to do to maybe satisfy all the different layers of fans, but not push away the original movie fans. That's a very difficult thing to do. So I got to give them a lot of props for even trying to do that. And there's so many mistakes out of 7, 8, 9. Well, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I'm not a huge fan of the whole Mandalorian was originally a Jedi. I don't know. To me, that's a little corny, but I'm up for it. Let's see where it goes. The whole darksaber thing, because again, at least, I mean, even it took really until maybe years after, or up until Return of the Jedi, to really, this is explaining how the lightsabers works. It's not really to the books. They went into the crystals and really went hard into all those things. So I'm thinking like darksaber, how does that even work in comparison to a tradition of, are they dipping into magic a little bit? Because it seems like the darksaber is more magic than a traditional lightsaber.
Yeah, I think the saber is both equal weapon as well as weapon of the Force. So it does take some training to use it, and I think that's why the first creator was Mandalorian and Jedi. He blended both worlds together, and that's why you only have one.
Well, they said that the original Mandalorian was a Jedi, no?
Yeah, he was Mandalorian and Jedi, and he forged the sword.
Well, he was the founder of the Mandalorians, so he wasn't. So there wasn't there weren't Mandalorians before that founder per se. Right. So then it's like, okay, so if you're gonna do that, actually, Willie, it would have been interesting if they do like to play with time to go through a scene, like even the It was weird how the woman that forges the weapons. It was kind of they kind of rushed it. Yeah, it was kind of rushed in a way of like, oh, okay, well. Like, she knew so much about it, but then she didn't. I don't know. I don't know.
She's their histories or historian storyteller, because in order for her to learn her craft, she had to learn her lineage, and this is everything. So that's what they explained, I believe.
Okay.
It made sense to me. She was always the storyteller.
So do you think there's some sort of connection between Mandalorian and then Luke? Or do you think that that sword is going to be destroyed by the time you get to... Because remember, this is all before 7, 8, 9. So,
that's a good question.
Maybe it...
I do wonder about how much stuff we're watching right now. Does any of it really still exist in episodes 7, 8, and 9 at all? Or if at some point are they just going to say 7, 8, and 9 isn't canon anymore, and they're just going to get rid of it and do something else?
Wow. Like pretend like it just never happened?
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying.
There's like a lot of stuff, and it's just like, none of this stuff showed up later on.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's what I heard that they're trying to do is get rid of 789 because it was like errors on top of errors, mistakes on top of mistakes, connections that didn't need to be connected or wasn't supposed to be connected, and it was just a huge cluster of confusion.
Imagine,
Right.
imagine being an actor and getting cast for Star Wars, and it being from a fan perspective, the worst 3 movies ever. I mean,
Oh,
some people
man.
argue that that's even worse than 1, 2, and 3, and there were a lot of debates on 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. I was hoping that at some point, I was like, maybe years later, people will look at 7, 8, and 9 the way they look at 1, 2, and 3, because some TV show comes along and redeems it. Because there was a time when people hated episodes 1, 2, but because of like the Clone Wars cartoon that kind of helped you like it, at least understand where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, maybe 7, 8, 9 will get that treatment, but that's a long reach, especially when you have these other shows that are already
Right.
so much better.
Right. No, yeah. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? So, let's do some predictions so we can watch back this show in the future and say we called it. I think Darth Vader is going to destroy the Darksaber.
No.
That's my prediction.
No.
And or kill the Mandalorian.
No.
What's your predictions?
I think the Darksaber is somehow going to build that world where, what's his name? That Emperor Snook came back. So that's going to forge the dark side and that planet and how they were able to create that many weapons from the power of the Darksaber. That's what I think they're going to go with.
What do you say, Will?
I don't know if I have anything that deep. But that was deep. That was deep. I don't know if I have anything that deep. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing right now, man.
What do you say, Dayveonne? Any predictions?
My only I don't really got a prediction on now. I think what's going to happen is I think the Darksaber is not going to have any connection. I say, well, I know that, but it's like I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Leave me alone.
Flustered.
I just don't know where they're going to go with it. But this is what I could assume of a prediction.
That's a prediction.
It may not have nothing to do with 7, 8, or 9.
That's a prediction.
I'm going to throw something at you without seeing you.
Oh, man.
I do hope in some shape or form we get to see live action versions of the Bad Batch, or at least 1 or 2 members of them in some shape or form. I would love to see that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
That is interesting.
I wonder if any of them live to make to show up in any of these other shows, though.
That would be
we'll
dope.
see.
Well, they did cast someone
Because Fennec Shand did show.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, just saying Fennec Shand showed up in Bad Batch, so I mean one of them could show up in one of these other shows at some point. What were you saying though?
That they did cast someone to play Luke Skywalker's wife, girlfriend / future wife, which is supposed to give fruit to the twins, the Skywalkers. So that's interesting, and they can kind of, well, it wouldn't erase 7, 8, 9, but who's to say that, she was the only, I mean, besides the title of the movies, that any of them were like the Last Jedis, because they made it very obvious that other people can have the Force with their electric boogaloo ending with the broom and stuff like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to Google, ask your parents, ask your grandparents. But that is a hip-hop culture reference, and you should know what I'm talking about. But that was a weird ending. So they could act like it never... Well, could they act like it never happened?
Or they could just do a remake.
I don't know what they wasted money to do that.
You'll be surprised. It's Disney.
Because it's Rey, and the way she left off with Disney and some of the people, that was weird. Just as an actress, there was like, controversy and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then the Asian actress, I can't remember her name, but she had a rough time with fans and some racism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because they changed complete direction. It was crazy.
Yeah, they kept changing direction. The only thing I know that is clear is that definitely Obi-Wan is shooting, and they're probably close to wrapping. But all now they're doing the Obi-Wan series. Luke is going to happen, has to happen. The whole series about Luke. They even admit, like, we know that Star Wars is about Luke at the end of the day. So, and there's such an interest for, I'll just call him Baby Yoda, that
Grogu.
There's so much money to be made in the toys for Grogu that there's no way they're not going to develop that.
It's not Baby Yoda. It's the child.
The child.
The
Yes.
child.
Yes, the child.
The child.
So, oh, you know what's interesting too? One of the comments online talking about Miss Kennedy, that was basically, she's executive producer and everything until I guess her contract runs out, and she pretty much runs the stuff for Star Wars until, right? That her idea really was to make all the characters important female, just because of a lack of representation in the past. And some people feel that they kind of neutered all the males in the process to do that. Will there be a balance of the force of representation, do you think, with these new films?
Yeah.
Everyone got silent.
Yeah, because that's a good question.
I was just thinking, like, do you think that's why Finn got punked the way he did in the movies?
I believe so. I mean, if you look at
Like
it,
like neutering him?
yeah, I mean, you kill Han Solo. Actually, Leia was supposed to really have a stronger role as a Jedi at the end, but of course she passed away. So then it was like, all right, well, the safety, let's do something with Luke. They definitely spent a lot of attention in not developing the love relationships, except for Ben and Rey, which kind of went
supposed to happen
nowhere, but then it went somewhere at the end, and it just didn't seem. You were just trying to kill me. You killed my master. You killed my teacher.
Right.
All this other stuff, and then I'm gonna make out with you as you're dying at the end. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. But my question is, they were never supposed to lead to that direction. They wasn't supposed to be flirting. They wasn't supposed to be in a relationship or anything. They're supposed to have been siblings, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they were trying to mimic Luke and Leia in the original. Like, oh, I didn't know that was my brother. And so I thought they were going to say Force.
That was the direction they was trying to go, but then it was like, okay, a whole bunch of confusion, and then, okay, let me kiss you because now you're good now. I'm like, what?
I thought I got the message that love is the Force. The Force is love. Yeah.
But that means everybody in the galaxy that fell in love will be doing flips and playing with lightsabers, and it just doesn't work out.
Jedi, see, it makes sense. Anybody can use the Force.
Yeah.
That just goes to show how many people are fake in love then in the world of Star Wars. So.
Well, that's true too. If that was the case, yeah, they got to make it more. And I mean, the thing is, from A New Hope, they really made it a very exclusive thing. And I know for toys and and marketing aspect, but I don't know. I mean, it goes back to, I guess, a conversation we had before the show, where it's like everybody wants a gold star, everyone wants to be a Jedi, everybody wants to be everybody. Like, if everybody is I don't know, captain of the football team. Guess what? There's no football team.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. Everyone has to play a role, you know. Yeah, I think Star Wars definitely has to make some really hard decisions. Are they going to leave midichlorians alone? Are there a limited amount of Jedis? Can anyone become a Jedi? Is it just you're teachable? You have to be young to be trained to be a Jedi, or maybe you don't. In Solo, was it Solo? No, it wasn't Solo. What was that movie where it was supposed to be right before A New
Rogue
Hope?
One.
Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Where one of the characters was like, he believed in the Force, but he just believed that it existed. He didn't have the Force. So I thought that was kind of cool, but again, you're playing with the audience with it, and it's like, you either have the Force or you don't. Stop it. Like, what are you doing?
Now, my question to you, everybody on here, with Rogue One, how did y'all feel about that film?
I love the Rogue One.
Okay.
It was
I said, how did you feel about Rogue One?
Yeah, what did Willie say?
It was good.
Oh, I said I loved it.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
It was good. It was important. And the last couple seconds was like amazing.
Yes.
That's the Darth Vader we hope to see. And I would like to see Darth Vader just kill the Mandalorian. I would like to see him destroy the Darksaber. In fact, I would like to see half of that cast gone. Bang, 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 bang. In fact, wait a minute. If that's the timeline, wait a minute. See, this is where things get confusing because Boba Fett went into the pit and Darth Vader, he was still alive. See, this is where the timing is kind of weird because where is this time that the Mandalorian and Boba Fett exist?
I think it's right after. What was the last? No,
Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, I think it's after the Jedi.
Yeah.
But is it like the day or like days or hours of the time that Jabba the Hutt was killed versus when Luke faced the Emperor? You know what I mean? Because there could have been time in between that. Like
right,
if it's a matter of days, or is it after he defeated and after the Ewoks won?
It's after, because Luke is on his journey. He's going through looking for new people to train because, as we learned in Boba Fett, Yoda's dead and Luke is on his journey. So I believe it's after those 3 movies.
So then there goes my hopes and dreams of Darth Vader. But then that doesn't make sense because Darth Vader kills your girl.
Luke killed.
Rosario Dawson's character.
Ahsoka?
Right.
Ahsoka?
Yeah, so Darth Vader's supposed to kill her.
Yeah, but I think she didn't die.
Well, then that's Favreau. He has to have a commitment too. You can't just... All right, we got to stop that. I'm going to just stop and just keep going. But they have to commit to certain things. They just can't leave everything open.
So, I just looked it up. Mm-hmm. As it turns out, Ahsoka did survive the duel with Vader.
Aw, boo.
Told you.
But that was on what?
Hmm?
That was on the animated show, right? Is that when they had that fight?
I believe so.
I forget the name of that show. I haven't seen it. But Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, was that it?
Was it Rebels or was it
Rebels? I think it's Rebels. It's because it's Rebels, Bad and
Attack of the Clones.
And Clone Wars, I think.
If we're gonna play that game and just keep our favorite things alive, then give me some Mace Windu. Then he didn't die either. If we're gonna play that game,
I would not be surprised if he shows up somehow.